This is a quick screencast by the E-team on how to create tests within Weblearn. Now, before you attempt to create a test, we recommend that you read this document, Recommendations for Weblearn Tests, and you will find that document under the Staff Weblearn Support tab underneath a tab called Assessments. Now, when creating a test, there are a number of things that need to be considered before the test is actually created, and you can read the most important issues here. Please pause the video and have a read. Okay, once you have understood those issues when creating tests, you need to understand that when you make a test, it's a two-step process. The first step is to actually create the test with the questions, and the second process is to deploy the test on the module and set the test options. And that is explained just here if you would like to read this. When you have created a test, the next thing to do is to add it to the correct area in the module. Now, when you make a test, one of the important things to consider is how the students are actually going to access the test and assignments. The recommendation is to create a content menu link on the left-hand side here and put all of the assignments or all of the tests or both in the same area. You can also deploy them in the module as well, but we recommend just to have one place for the students to be able to locate the tests and assignments. To do that, you would go up to the plus symbol, click on content area, and create a content area where all of the assessments are going to be. For this example, I've created an area called formative assessments, and in here I will have my different assessments and tests. And once you have created an area for the students to be able to find the assessments and tests, you then need to create the test. There is an option to create the test just here in the content area, but the recommendation is to create all of the tests in one area and then deploy them in the module. To do that, you would go down to Module Tools, under the Control panel, expand the list, and choose Tests, Surveys, and Pools. Here you will see three areas, but we'll keep your tests, surveys, and pools. There is a description of what each one of these do. Let's go into tests, and here you will see a list of all of the tests on the module, which is much easier to maintain and to manage if they're all in the same place. To create a test, you click onto Build Test, and you'll be taken to a series of options. First option is to put in the name for the test and also to add a description. Also, any instructions that you want the students to follow, and then click Submit. I shall enter those details now. When you have completed all of the descriptions and the instructions, which should include for the descriptions when the test will be taken, where it will be taken, who needs to take the test, and what type of test it is, and what questions are included in the test, and the assessment value for the test, if any. The instructions should include things on how to take the test, how to save, what type of answers are expected, how to navigate the test, and what to do when the test is finished. When you are happy, click Submit, and you'll be taken to an area that allows you to create questions. Okay, so now you can create the questions. If you hover the mouse over the Create Questions area, you will see a list of different questions that can be created. Some of them are obvious and some of them are not so obvious. The not so obvious ones are file response, which allows the student to upload a file for their response instead of taking any special test or answering any special questions. Hotspot is when you have an image and the student needs to click on the correct area of the image to get the marks. A quiz bowl is where you give the answer to the question and the students need to then come up with the question that matches the answer. Multiple answers is when the student can choose from a varied amount of correct answers. And I believe the others will be self-explanatory or one way or the other. But there is a description for each question. We will go through the most used questions. Firstly, multiple choice. So if we select multiple choice, and on a side note, this question mark here turns off and on the help tips. So we have a tip just here. If I click onto the question mark, the tip disappears. I click back on and the tip reappears. And the tip always tells you exactly the type of question that you're actually creating. Okay, first thing is to choose a question. The question title is not imperative, but you can put a question title if you require. You need to type in the actual question, which I shall do now. Your second set of options are whether you want numbers to go with your multiple choice answers. I will pick letters rather than numbers. We advise to leave the answers as vertical rather than horizontal. You can allow partial credits. What that means, if a question is 10 marks, will you allow part of the 10 marks, 5, 7 or 3? And do you want the answers to be displayed randomly? Option number 3 allows you to choose the number of responses. By default it is 4. You can choose more responses if you want. If you want less responses, you would click on the remove to remove the responses that are there. By default, the correct answer always goes into the first option, but you can change the correct answer to whatever option you so wish. So the correct answer I shall put in. And I shall populate the others. Fourth set of options is where you enter the feedback for the correct answer. And underneath that is the feedback for the incorrect answer. Now you must be careful that if you are giving a formative test and you want the students to take the test over and over again, that you do not want to give them the answer in the feedback. You want them to keep taking the test until they get the correct answer. It's totally up to you when you decide to create it. Area 5 allows you to add categories, topics, levels of difficulty and keywords to each one of the tests, and this will be relevant when you need to search for individual tests and individual questions for tests. If you have already chosen a categories on this module before, you will be given this choose from existing. If you haven't, then you will only get the OK. As you can see, I've already chosen a category which I call first. I will call this one second. Put in a topic. Levels of difficulty. And any keywords. Option number 6 allows you to put in any instructor notes for any other instructors on the module that might be involved with tests. For instance, you might have 25 students in one class and 25 students in another class, but you might want to leave instructor details for the instructor in the other class. When you are happy, you click Submit. And here you will be shown the very first question. There's a tick next to the correct answer. Here is the points value. If you wanted to overwrite the points value, you would click the points value in here and click on Update. If you were happy with the test, you would click OK. Other than that, you would add some more questions, and that's what I shall do. Next one I shall add should be true or false. And the procedure is exactly the same for each question. You can put a question title, but you must put a question text. Then is the answer true or false? This particular question, the answer is false. And then, once again, option number 4 is the feedback for the correct and incorrect responses. Option 5 again are the keywords. If you get one wrong, you click the red X. And once again, number 6 in the instructor notes, and then click Submit. And there you will see your second question, and the questions can be moved. And one final question I will create, which will be fill in the blank. Create the question. Now where you want the blank to go, you put 2 square brackets. Option number 2, you must be careful to consider all the different ways that someone might spell the missing word. In this case, I will put in 2 answers, just in case they spell tower with a capital letter and a lowercase t. Feedback is, once again, any instructor notes, and click Submit. Okay, so there is a quick 3-question test. Once you are happy with those, click OK. And there you will see your test created. And that ends this quick screencast on how to create a test. Please see the following screencast, which will explain on how to deploy your test on your module. Thank you.